name is Cheryl Erickson, and I'm the Indigenous focused ECE instructor with Louis Riel Vocational College. Today in Child and Family Diversity, we're going to look at Chapter 4 and sharing views of initiative with families. But before I get started, just a reminder to read Chapter 4 of your text, as this video is not a replacement for your chapter readings. So when we talk about supporting families of children and initiative, we look at what initiative is. And typically, initiative, that development, or you see a lot of initiative around the age of 4. Children are much more independent, they're very social, they're able to use their imagination more effectively, and you can see these imagination use in various stages of their play, from dramatic play to things they might be constructing in the block area. Really coming into their own and able to problem solve and figure things out on their own. 4-year-olds can be very spontaneous in their play. Things can change very quickly. They adapt to the changes in play very quickly as well. And they're very, they're more competent as well. And you can see that competence increasing. So when we look at initiative and how that affects imagination and fantasy, we kind of look at different types of play situations. And so the stages of initiative can be seen in the pretend play, symbolic play, and role play and fantasy play. And so when I say that, you know, when you look at pretend play, you know, pretend play can be just a play situation that maybe the children develop regarding, let's have a tea party, and they do that in the dramatic play, and you see, you know, how they act out that type of scenario. Symbolic play is really interesting because they're at a stage where an object can be anything. So for example, within a pretend play situation, maybe they pick up a banana and they use it as a telephone. And so that object then becomes something else. And so you see that imagination growing. Role playing, they're able to take on the roles of different types of people, maybe mom or dad or a firefighter. So you see how they portray themselves in each of those roles, as well as fantasy play and what that could be in being, you know, a dragon slayer or something like that to that effect. And so we really want to encourage this imagination and these types of plays because it's really a great opportunity for children to learn and to learn about the world around them as well. So value of play: children learn new skills and they practice old ones. Through play, they can challenge themselves. Through play, you're using all components, you know, of your body. It can be a very physical, not only thinking cognitively, but it could be eye-hand coordination. It could be large muscles. So they're really working their whole body, and within that, they develop new levels of mastering some skills. They gain competence in all areas of development. There are 4 domains. Especially the social emotional is a really a big gain as far as developing skills within the social and emotional, because play is very social, and emotions come into play as well. Especially when things may not be going the way you want it to in that play, and then children start using more problem-solving skills as well. Play can also improve balance and coordination. How does the environment influence play. So this speaks to what we do within the environment as early childhood educators, and setting up that environment so that it really promotes growth and development in the play, as well as most importantly, children are having fun. And so we want to make sure that within the environment that it is contributing to the sense of initiative, allowing children the choice. So setting up your environment in your 7 curriculum areas, offering a wide variety of materials and equipment within those areas really helps and gives children choice as to what they want to play with. And also allowing some freedom for exploration. So, allowing children the opportunity to take those blocks into the housekeeping or dramatic play area, because maybe those blocks are now turned into something for their fantasy play. Maybe they're building cages for a zoo. So we want the children to have the opportunities to really move different toys around to improve the quality of that play. We want to allow opportunities for active and quiet play. So, your large muscle activities, your jumping and skipping, building with blocks, running, as well as opportunities for some quiet relaxation. So an area like library where children can sit down and look at books or lay on some comfortable pillows if they need to rest. Your environment should be developmentally appropriate for the age group that you have, and that's going to promote, again, the development. If you have toys that are too young for the children, it's not going to challenge them. And if it's toys and equipment that are for a larger age group, like especially toys and games, or equipment that's too big for them, it's going to be frustrating for them. So we want things that they're going to enjoy, that they're going to learn from, and that it's going to challenge them a little bit too. We want to ensure that it's enticing as well within that environment. So what's attracting the children to the areas, what's bringing them there to want to play, as well as where we are going to place ourselves as ECEs. How are we going to get involved in those play situations? Are you going to sit back and watch, and or are you going to participate? And also to just listen to the conversations and watch those interactions so that you can intervene or help guide play into a new direction, or if there's challenging behaviors, to guide children appropriately within that, because you want that play experience to be positive for everybody. Again, through play is very powerful for children. They learn so many amazing skills, cognitively, socially, emotionally. They learn about the world around them. Through play, they learn how to problem solve. And we want to be there to guide them and give them the steps for positive problem solving. So if children are in a situation and you, again, are within the area and listening and watching, if they're being successful at what they're doing, give them the space and the freedom to problem solve if they can do it on their own. If they need a little bit of guidance, really do assist that. But give them the words. Just give them the words. Don't problem solve for them. If you give them the words, then they learn how to do it, and they need to independently solve problems on their own. And it's a lot of it is going to be about the materials and the equipment you provide in those areas. Having a large amount of things, it should be appropriate for the group size that you have within your environment, which can often lead to less issues with children. The mind is very busy. It's always thinking, it's always working, and it's really amazing to watch children as they are participating in play situations, because sometimes you can just see those wheels turning and where they're going within that play situation, and how it can change quickly too. And often that happens with another child entering the play situation with a different idea, and it taking off in a different direction. So play is really neat. And if play does flow that way with another child stepping in and that play turning into a different direction, that's a really good sense of really well-established social skills that they're so easy to adapt to a new situation. So it's some really good, secure skills involved there. When we look at the term dimensions of play and in the environment, again, I can't speak to the importance of setting up that environment, as well as looking at dimensions. And so when I say dimensions, there are some listed on this slide that you should really consider within your environment. So soft and hard, a lot of our environment is shelving, hardwood and shelving with toys. You need to have soft elements to your environment too. And so soft would be, the soft rugs, blankets, pillows, comfy couches, and things like that allow children the opportunities to rest and relax. They can offset noise as well. It absorbs sound and noise within that environment too. Open and closed areas as well, where children can freely come in and choose where they want to play. You're going to have limits within those environments as well, where maybe it's limited to 1 to 2 children because of the size of the space, or maybe the materials that are available. And I can speak to, say, for example, a sand or water table. Often you'll limit it to 2 or 3 children, just because a table isn't that large, and you want children to be able to have an opportunity to really manipulate and use that medium. And if you have too many children, it's not you're not benefiting from that play. It's not purposeful. You can't really build a sandcastle because there's not enough space. So things like that are really important when you factor in limiting sometimes the amount of children, so that play is very successful. We want areas that promote high mobility, so areas to run and jump and skip and hop. Also areas that, allow for, just sitting down at a table and doing a puzzle, more of a relaxed, sedentary. Again, that could be your library, where you're just sitting down and doing a task and relaxing, and it's a little bit more comfortable. And as well as more simplex and complex things. And so that could be the toys, the puzzles, the games that you put out there that could be simple, matching to more complex counting, moving, addition, subtraction types of games, or puzzles. You go from the small peg puzzles to 100-piece puzzles. So things that are going to challenge your children that are at an age where they can do more. They know they have more skills and are ready developmentally for that. We also look at, again, we've talked about in the past the different personality types of children, and the slow to warm child, the easy child. We want to factor in play situations, especially when it comes to initiative, the shy child, because often the shy child can seem like they, maybe they aren't at par developmentally, they're not saying a lot, they're kind of standoffish, they're not participating a lot. The term used in the text was they lack the get up and go. And that's not always the case. Some kids just like to sit back and observe and see how things go. Sometimes they need to be asked to come into the play situation. They don't necessarily haven't developed the skills to come into play. And that is a big thing. A lot of times, behavior issues come up into play because children don't know socially how to enter play. Often they just push themselves in and start to play. And conflicts arise because the children that were already playing there become upset. So we need to teach those children how to enter play and to be successful. And it could just mean saying the words, "Oh, I like this game that you're playing. It looks like fun. Can I play?" Or just simply, "Can I play with you?" So knowing, getting to know your children and their personality is really going to be key. And I've experienced shy children who, for example, we had circle time in the morning, and they sat through circle time and they just listened. They didn't participate in the song. They didn't do our morning greetings. And, you wonder, are you not interested? Is this, we really want to get to know them and get to know what their interests are. But in a conversation with a parent of the shy child, when that child got home, they talked nonstop about what happened in that circle time activity in the morning, and they sang the song. So the parent had told me that they really enjoyed this song that the child sang. So I knew from that conversation with the parent that, even though that child isn't participating physically, she was taking everything in, and she was understanding, and just wasn't able to express it within our environment. So sometimes that takes a little bit of time for them to be comfortable to participate. So just knowing that some children are shy, maybe some one-on-one getting to know them, interacting with them and encouraging them to participate is what we need to do to get them past that. We also look at the aggressive child. Sometimes aggression can be from bottled up feelings, and it was just kind of that term, the icing on the cake. I just had enough, and it all came out in more of a physical type of way. And so that again is getting to know the children and getting to know what the limits are, and if you see that they're getting frustrated, giving them the words to help them do some problem solving so it doesn't get to be physical. So some really good mediums for those bottled up feelings could be a high energy outlet. So the running, games, kicking, jumping, climbing could be a good physical outlet for those kinds of feelings, as well as those sensory soothing. Sometimes some nice warm water play could be good. Play-Doh play where you can kind of punch it, roll it, get those feelings out, or art and music activities can be very therapeutic. So again, it's getting to know your children and getting to know what works best with them to help release those types of feelings. We always want to empower our children as well, to solve problems on their own, and let them know that, praise them when you see them doing it, and help them when you see that they are struggling. So we want to set them up for success, make sure that they're on the right path, give them the skills and sometimes the words to help them solve their problems. it's going to lead to more successful behaviors later on in life. And life is full of problem situations that you need to learn to solve. You need to learn to figure out. So it's setting them up for success at a young age, and we do want to empower them to be successful. And why do we teach these problem-solving skills to children? We do know that studies have shown that the roots of violence usually starts within that first year of life. Violent behavior is often, you see it, and children think that that is the way that problems are solved, or that's how we deal with certain situations. So that's how they manage it. And we need to give them the words, and we need to teach them the way to do it, the positive way to do it. So often you can spot children in preschool who are at risk for becoming violent teens. And having said that, it's typically the 4 and 5-year-old children that you see that become angry and physically lash out. At 4 and 5, you should have a good understanding that physically lashing out is not okay, that there's an appropriate way to deal with situations and how to properly channel your anger. And so that's gaining that self-regulation. And so we really want to teach children coping mechanisms and to teach them to self-regulate. And so we will go through the problem-solving techniques with children and teach them, those skills. And one of the first things is labeling emotions. And if you are angry, to say, I am angry. And why are you angry? I am angry because you took my toy. And going through those scenarios to effective solving the problem, and that they get back that toy. In the end. We want to, teach children effective language and how to use it. And again, that's going back to labeling those emotions. Emotions are very powerful. And so angry, sad, mad, that hurt my feelings, all those types of words teach children to express themselves, to express what they want and what they need, as well as they learn, when they're expressing them, they learn to understand them. And so if somebody's expressing them back, they can relate. And that's where that perspective taking comes in. First and foremost, we want children to be able to see how other people feel. To develop that empathy as well is really important. That again is learning self-regulation. Learning to express themselves in those appropriate ways is going to empower them to want to be successful in that endeavor. And so that does conclude Chapter 4. In Child and Family Diversity. Please do see your instructor if you have any questions regarding Chapter 4, as well as just to check in to ensure that you haven't missed any handouts or assignments relating to Chapter 4.